testing, Keith, to see
I
if
am.
it's broadcasting?
We're good.
Okay, super.
All right, let's call to order this meeting of the Town of Bremen Redevelopment Commission. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the December 18th meeting of 2025. Does everybody have a copy of that in front of them? Any discussion on the minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of that meeting?
I motion to approve the minutes from December 18th meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Minutes are approved. Town attorney?
I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Peterson to talk about the proposed term sheet.
Thank you, everybody. You have before you a term sheet for the development of a mixed-use housing complex for the property located on the corner of 3rd Road and Fir. That property consists of the Brown property as well as the additional property adjacent to it being acquired for that purpose. We have a contract for. And so this term sheet is with Collins Equity Group. They have proposed a 3-phase mixed-use development. The first phase would be approximately 184 units. This would consist of a senior housing building with approximately 20 units in there, 32 patio flat apartments, 72 traditional apartment units, 14 single-family homes that will be available for rent, and 24 single-family homes available for sale, and then 22 duplexes. The phase 1 would commence in October, and they would, upon the execution of a development agreement, start their design and work for that. Phase 2 would follow, pending sufficient market demand, to be complete within 18 to 24 months after the completion of phase 1. That would be about 108 units. Another senior building, additional 20 units in that building, 54 additional apartment units, 14 single-family more condos, and then there are 21 for sale single-family homes. Concomitant with that, or upon the completion of phase 2, there's also an option for phase 3, which would consist of 47 to 48 additional single-family homes for sale. Developer has committed to use best efforts to utilize floor plans that meet market demand. They estimate between $250 and $325 as the top sale prices. Again, this is intended to have housing that people can afford, workforce to come to the community, but market rate. These are market rate homes. They anticipate steady construction employment as well over the period of time. Total investment would be $45.6 million of all phases, approximately $20 million for phase 1, 12.85 phase 2, and 12.75 for phase 3. The project site would be allocated in 2 components. The first component would be for phase 1 and phase 2, and the second component would be for just the single-family homes of phase 3, or phase 3. The property would not be transferred to the developer until they were closing on their equity and debt sufficient to complete phase 1. Ensures the town will have a fully complete phase 1. There is a penalty that they would pay the town's cost that they've incurred for the land if they do not complete phase 1. They have basically 24 months to complete that phase. For phase 2 or phase 3, when they take that down, they would have a right of first refusal. It would be contingent upon them obviously being in compliance with the development agreement, but also demonstrating the demand in constructing the single-family homes as part of phase 1 and phase 2, and having those listed for individual purchasers. The phase 3, they have to complete at least half those homes, or they again would have to, subject to a penalty, have to pay all the costs associated with that land. There will be, as part of the incentive for this, the establishment of 2 TIF areas, one for the rental units, one for the residential units, maybe some sub areas within that, depending upon how the phase is developed. But effectively, the developer has agreed to assume all the costs associated with developing the infrastructure within the site, and half of the access roads needed, half of the primary access road to get to a main road for development. In exchange for that, the redevelopment commission would be allocating 75% of the projected TIF, for the project, and would be retaining 25% of the TIF for it. In addition, the redevelopment commission would be assisting with the extension of utilities to the site, which are anticipated to be water and sewer to the site. As far as kind of other components of the infrastructure and design, there would be a waiver of the tap fees, only to the extent that there is sufficient TIF, coming in from the town to projected to offset the infrastructure cost being to the extensions to the site. The developer also has an obligation to kind of work in good faith to develop a plan to improve the ballpark area there, design and construct a trailhead, pavilion area with some external restrooms that could be utilized for both trail users and those who utilize the baseball field. As far as additional obligations, in addition to what we discussed, the redevelopment commission, would help kind of effectuate the land transfers. Obviously, use best efforts to engage with the other town bodies needed for the project, whether it's for the planning commission, zoning, council, all the things that would be needed to facilitate this. And of course, the development agreement to contemplate this would be going forward through this body. The Economic Development Commission would also be involved, it's related to the issuance of the instruments to provide for the TIF. There's some additional low-cost financing to provide for the infrastructure, which obviously is being explored right now, and so maybe some approvals in the future related to that to make sure that the water and sewer get out there. We do have plans that are fairly complete, so those processes are moving forward. But happy to entertain any questions related to the term sheet. I will add, this is non-binding term sheet. Once this is executed by the redevelopment commission and then the developer, a formal development agreement will be presented, that memorializes the terms set forth in here.
Is there usually more of a design when we get to that point?
Yeah, that's when you'll have attached, and we're working with Baker Tilly to develop a schedule on what this would mean. There's been some back and forth on scope and timing, so that's got to be worked out in the next couple of weeks to provide the exhibits for the development agreement.
So we had some back and forth with Collins on the term sheet and negotiated favorable conditions with some concessions on both sides. Can you kind of coming together in the middle? Was it your impression, just in talking with them, that this is a project that they're excited to take on, that it's in their wheelhouse, it's something that they're obviously We've talked to them and the surrounding communities, mayors and town directors to find out who have had similar projects with Collins to find out their experience. But can you just give us your impression of those negotiations in there?
Sure. The redevelopment commission has embarked on an extensive process to engage developers over the last year, almost last year, with respect to the property once it made its initial purchase of the Brown property. And that process, when it came down to it and provided offering for land, they were one of the few that actually submitted interest in the property and followed up with that interest kind of on an ongoing basis. And if you look around the various communities, towns of this size, there's very few developers that are putting investments of this level. Typically, you have one or two types. You've got one that's going to come all in, kind of, and make investments. In this case, 20 to up to $45 million of investment. Or you have someone who comes in and says, "Build me a small road, and I'll put a house up or two," and kind of do it in the form of maybe 5, 10 at a time, and it could take years to do the same number of units. So they, were the ones that came in and said, "Hey, we're all in on Bremen." They understood the community, and there wasn't the additional, impetus, to try to cajole a much larger investment that would be needed to kind of create the catalytic effect, if you will, that they're going to be creating here and developing the kind of investment that they're creating. So other developers just did not hit this level of enthusiasm and approach, and this is within their wheelhouse. They have made several investments in communities like Bremen, and they were excited to have the potential to put this into their next round of investment, I guess, in the area.
And for the developers that were considering potentially building on the property, that were going to take a slower approach with a 1 to 10 units, selling them and then building them kind of on demand. If I understand it right, the TIF model really doesn't support that, right? If we're going to take this approach, we can't offer these lots, parse it out one by one, and offer them for one-off builds and still have the TIF support that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. So for example, to extend water and sewer, in this case, you need a lift station because of how the grade was occurring. That cost of itself is too extensive for a developer to take on. And if the town took it on and its return on investment was having just 1 or 2 units that come on at a time, that's much different than taking on that same investment and having 180 units coming on immediately, plus an additional almost doubling that over time. So there's a kind of a push-pull there, kind of components to it, and just on that end of town, the infrastructure wasn't sufficient to support too many houses without the water and the lift station coming in, and this is the type of investment that can make that worthwhile. I think the other aspect of this is that when you have that many number of users, that does help spread across the number of costs associated with water, keeping up the water plant, the sewer plant, different things like that. You start, getting more of a tax base spread out, more users, more capacity that's available, which helps lower or keep more even kind of the type of utility costs that we've seen been increasing over time.
And obviously the number of units that they're proposing, even in phase 1, in conjunction with our Ready Grant requirements, more than fulfills that. Correct?
Yeah, there's 2 aspects of the Ready. One is kind of investment, the other is units. So in the unit side, 184 units exceeds 135 that was projected over the same period of time. And, the investment of the 46.5 total, exceeds what was originally anticipated. The first phase of 20 million, if you think about the different pieces. You can't have more than or less of the ready funding be greater than 20% of the project. Well, in this case, the $20 million satisfies that, so we have, we achieve our full investment objective, with one developer on just the first phase.
And it looks like in all 3 phases, it's about 340 units.
Yes. And that's over time, so there's absorption that happens. I think the good thing about this is this isn't 300 homes coming on at one time. It's very moderate over the period of the next 4 years coming online, and just gives an opportunity for those people who have wanted to move to the area to have an opportunity to come to the area, and or those who are looking to stay in the area but maybe have a little bit different type of home can now access that here. So it's much more of a moderate shift, than if you had to try to recruit 300 new single-family homes and put those on the market at one time.
And obviously, we've had the opportunity to talk to Collins, the Collins folks, but also to see the developments that they've made in other communities in Marshall County, even, but beyond, and talk to the municipal managers there about their projects. They're similar to this, and it looks like from what they were able to share, I think that they were happy with the product, but also the terms that are laid out here are not dissimilar to what other towns have negotiated with them. That's fair to say. Any other discussion or comments on the term sheet?
I would say that as we look to, move this forward, you would be, approving the term sheet in its form and authorizing the signatory to finalize attached exhibits and sign it. So we don't have a fully complete with everything just because of the nature of holidays and different pieces and coming back. But the actual terms wouldn't change, but we just have to get some of the documents, the attachments, like the site map and things like that, that with the negotiations happening and things getting back, we didn't get everything able to be presented signed. So we're just authorizing the signature, and then it'll be signed tomorrow when we get all the exhibits assembled.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I think so.
Okay. Do we have a motion to authorize signature on the economic development term sheet with Collins as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, approved.
Thank you.
One thing that the council had asked me about last year, has not been on your agenda before, but it is adding annexed area on Destiny Drive where Digger Specialties is building a new facility to the TIF area. So we will start that process in the coming weeks. They have already started moving some dirt out there, but it is still, I think we can get that taken care of before construction really begins in earnest in the spring. So that is something that is coming down the pike. Other requests that we've had recently, Keith, I'll bring this up, I think this was on your plate, but the school has requested the ability to use the Stock Street parcel once that has closed to store equipment during a future building project that I think is going to take place sometime in 2026. And we would just ask for you, if you want to consider or direct us essentially to go ahead and draft some kind of lease. It would be a lease, typically a nominal amount like $1, and we would just have them indemnify you against any kind of claim that could come from since there are no other plans for the property, it seems like it would be beneficial to the school and go to cooperate. So if you guys would just basically authorize Keith and I to work out that arrangement, then we'll hopefully have a complete lease for you sometime for a future meeting, probably in February.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Well, schools dealt with us in good faith on this project. I think we can feel like it's a reasonable request. Do you have a motion to approve the use of the Stock Street property for the staging of construction equipment for a school building project this year, potentially? Is that right? Are they getting-
You know, I said that, but I just assume it's
This
sometime
summer.
in the future, so this summer.
Okay.
So, and obviously we hadn't closed on that property yet, so that would have to happen first before we can lease it.
Sure.
But once we have it, and there'll be some discussions about kind of how they turn it into a parking / equipment storage space versus, I think, farm ground essentially as it is right now.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay. We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay.
I think that is everything that I have for you at the moment. So, Ms. Atkins could not be here tonight. So I think she sent, I'm not sure when she last sent the report. She's doing a great job, I think, of getting more information out on the funds. Yeah, so she just asked that we basically just relay that and say if you have any questions about anything related to her scope, feel free to just let us know.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
All right. Do we have a second? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Who is the second on that?
That'll be it.
Okay, okay, sorry, I didn't catch it.
Yes, I second.
All right. We're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Are we still
Are we
supposed to
up?
be meeting on Monday?
Two
Is that really the third Monday of the month?
We're supposed to be.